Back with mega movie numbers for you all. This is where we run down physical media by the numbers. We first take a look at the top 20 selling 4K Ultra HD discs of a previous week. Then we do the market share breakdown where we compare all the different disc formats with DVDs, Blu-rays, and 4Ks. And of course, we take a look into the future, how physical media sales are doing overall and where they might be going next. But before we get into that, if you love collecting movies just like me and being a part of this amazing league of mega film fans, go ahead and blockbust that like and subscribe. That way you stay entertained and up to date on all these physical media numbers all year long. But let's get right into the list here. So starting at the bottom, we got Avatar: The Way of Water from 20th Century. This movie has been on the list for the longest time. Great visuals, a wonderful 4K disc with just how it looks and sound. So I enjoyed that one. Next up, we actually got a new one here. Yes, Leviathan from Kino Lorber. I've never seen this movie before, but the front cover looks really cool, looks mysterious. I like that artwork. What is this movie about, though? Is it like an ocean monster? I don't know what's going on. You guys will have to let me know. Next up, we got John Wick Chapter 4 from Lionsgate, because John Wick will always be on this list more often than not, because it's John Wick action-packed, super fun movie, one of the best 4K discs of all time, in my opinion. Really like that one. Next up, we got another new one here with the Heroic Trio Executioners from Criterion. Now, I don't know much about this movie. I like the front cover art as well here. You got Michelle Yeoh, and it looks to be a martial arts film, so it definitely caught my attention. Maybe we'll check it out in a Criterion sale. Next up, we got Thanksgiving from Sony Pictures, and I really like this horror slasher movie. To me, they did a great job with the villain character, and just it was gory and bloody and over the top violence with some creative Thanksgiving kills. What more could you want as a horror fan? Next up, we got Beverly Hills Cop from Paramount. Now, I've only seen the first Beverly Hills Cop, haven't seen 2 and 3, but you know what? I might want to check out that whole trilogy eventually because I thought it was a good buddy cop action comedy. Next up, we got Silent Night from Lionsgate, and I really like Silent Night. To me, it was gun fu fun. To me, the premise was pretty cool too, with it not having a lot of dialogue, and I thought it was just filmed really well. So I enjoyed that one overall. Next up, we got Barbie from Warner, because Barbie just often sells really well, especially the hype with award season. People just love themselves some Barbie, so why not? Next up, we got Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny from Disney and Lucasfilm. I just got mine in from the Disney Movie Club because it got super discounted. So even though it's my least favorite, it's still Indiana Jones. I had to complete the whole franchise on physical media. Next up, we got The Expendables 4 from Lionsgate. I don't really love this movie. There's some fun action moments, but the story goes off the rails. A lot of the acting isn't the best with like Megan Fox, so it just depends what you're looking for in a movie. Next up, we got At Freddy's from Universal. I thought the animatronics were really good here. It was atmospheric and spooky at times, so I can't wait to see where they go with a sequel. Next up, we got Dune Part 1 from Warner. Dune Part 2 is a hot new movie right now in theaters, and I love Part 2 a lot more than Part 1, but Part 1 is a decent little setup, so it just depends how much Dune you want in your life. Next up, we got a new one here with Paprika from Sony Pictures. Looks to be an anime title, but the artwork is phenomenal here. It just gets my attention going, and I want to watch this one eventually. Next up, we got Priscilla from Lionsgate. Heard pretty solid things about this A24 film. Haven't seen it yet, so hey, you know what? Maybe in the future. Next up, we got Darkman from Shout Studios, and I think this is a very underrated comic book movie. Got Liam Neeson in the superhero role here. You even get other great acting talent like Frances McDormand in here, so I do enjoy that one. Would love to get a discounted copy of that one, of course. Next up, we got the Conan Chronicles, Conan the Barbarian, Conan the Destroyer from Arrow Video. To me, this is one of the nicest looking box sets Arrow has ever done. A lot of goodies thrown in here. I like both of the Conan movies. I think they're fun fantasy adventure tales. I love the supporting cast as well. You can't do better than Arnold as Conan. So really, really enjoyed that set of movies. Arrow just does a phenomenal job on things like that. Next up, we got Trolls Band Together from Universal and DreamWorks. And this is actually a really fun family animated title. There's great singing in here. The voice talent is fantastic as well. And so it's probably the best out of all the Trolls movies, I must say. Next up, we got to have Oppenheimer from Universal. Of course, award season hype once again. Everybody is loving Oppenheimer. For some reason, I still don't get it. Even though I thought it was a well made movie, just, I don't know, it's scientists talking, is it not? But people apparently loved it, so happy to see that selling. Next up, we got the Marvels from Disney and Marvel, of course. And I thought this movie had some fun moments in there. There's some good acting talent. I just think the story's a little wonky with the editing and then the villain, and it just isn't the best Marvel movie of all time. But I've seen a lot worse now that I've seen Madam Web. Next up, our number one. I was not expecting this one in first place. We got The Hunger Games, The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes from Lionsgate. And I really like this Hunger Games movie. At least the first two-thirds, it's really good. The acting talent is great here. There's awesome singing and music, and it just gets kind of brutal with the tournament. So I do enjoy this one overall, but surprised that it got first place. But wow, a lot of studios are doing well here. A lot of them showing up on this list. So that is fantastic. But now we got to get into the market share breakdown, of course, to see how the different disc formats are selling. So looking at these home video charts now, and we see that 4K's dropped a little bit to 14%. We knew they weren't going to be at the 18% marker for a long time, but still happy to see them close to 15%. I will take that as a win, right, for ultra high definition. And then we got Blu-rays, of course, that did drop a little bit as well. Went down from, 30% to closer to 25, which we knew that was probably going to happen as well. But that's still a solid number. I like to see them close to 30%, but hey, we got to work with what we got at this point, and that means DVDs got a big jump up close to 60% again. It's still just as mind-blowing how many people will pick up DVDs. That's why I see DVDs everywhere. When I go to Target and Walmart, there's so many freaking DVDs out there. I'm guessing people just don't know the difference. The common consumer anyway. Of course, collectors, we know the difference, but the common consumer is just probably picking up the cheapest option. They got the movie, they can see it, they can hear it, they play it. That's all they care about, and that's what they are going with. So DVD, of course, is still king, but I think the high definition formats are not doing too bad this week either. But let's talk about how our sales doing overall. How do we think we did in comparison to the previous year? So this is just speculation and educated guesses, but I think this was a pretty solid week that brought in some good money to these studios, because a lot of these studios were showing up on the list. A lot of these popular titles like Oppenheimer and Barbie, of course, and John Wick and all this great stuff. But you also had new 4K show up as well. You had boutique labels thrown into the mix. So I think this was a pretty solid week. I think it was a good mixture of what we got overall. So I'm guessing that the money went up a little bit as what we've seen from previous months. Of course, February was getting into a drag. This was a little rebound for February. So why not? I will take that every day. Now, how is physical media selling? Comparison from just this year to how we've seen in years past. Yeah, of course, probably physical media overall is declining because so many more people are streaming out there. I get it, but collectors are keeping the market going strong. There's still plenty of new titles being released for us. And especially once we get into spring and summer, those boutique labels and studios are going to be packing a punch with some really nice additions. They're not going to stop with just the Conan set. We know we're going to get more from these great labels out there. So I'm excited for that as a collector. It just depends. Hey, if there are going to be so much titles, what am I going to choose? What's going to be my favorites? And that's always great to have plentiful options as a collecting member. But there we go. Those were kind of my speculation thoughts right there. Let me know in the comments below, what did you think of the top 20 selling 4K Ultra HD discs? Were you surprised by the first place winner just like me? And also, what did you think of the market share breakdown? How do you think physical media is doing in general out there? And where do you think it's going next? Let's have those fun movie conversations down below. And of course, if you haven't already, go ahead and mega blockbuster that like and subscribe. That way you stay entertained and up to date on all these physical media numbers in the future. And of course, just make it a movie day. And if you love this topic, go ahead and mega blockbuster the next one right now. And thank you so much, my mega membership supporters.